everybody, my name is Erica and today I'm going to be giving you 23 releases to read in 2023. So I try to do this video every year. It gets later and later because I just have the worst time planning this. But today I finally have 23 books that are coming out in 2023 that you should definitely read. Last year for my 2022 one, I actually got a lot of those books read. I didn't obviously read all of them on that list because I have so many other books to read, but I'm pretty proud of how many I did read last year that I put on that list. Alright, so 23 books to read in 2023. Let's just get right into it. These are not in any particular order. Normally I try to go in like order of release. A lot of these are already out. So I'm just going to be kind of going down the list that I have and I'll tell you when they were released, okay? The first one I have is, I have all my notes here because I can't memorize all of this. The first one I have here is The Witch and the Vampire by Francesca. Oh, I knew this was going to happen. My handwriting is so bad. The Witch and the Vampire by Francesca Flores. This comes out on March 21st. It was my sister's birthday that day. Alright, so this is a queer Rapunzel retelling where a witch and a vampire journey through a cursed forest. We're following the character of Ava, who was turned into a vampire one night 2 years ago when they ravaged her town. She's been stuck in her house since then and still has her witch power, but her mother wants to take her power because she also needs to hide that she's a vampire. So I think her mom is also a vampire. I kind of read this weird, or like I might have written it wrong, but I think they're both vampires and they have to hide it, but like her mom's gonna steal her magic so she can hide that. So Ava needs to escape and seek help from the vampires in the forest, probably to try to cure herself. Ava's old friend Kay, whose mother was killed by the vampires, is about to finish her training as a flame witch. And her goal is to fulfill her duty and kill all the vampires that are remaining. She follows Ava into the forest because she wants to turn her in since she's a vampire. Ava agrees, but while they're on this journey together, their friendship begins to rekindle and romance blossoms. I am actually so excited for this book. It sounds so good. At first when I saw it, I was like, this kind of seems hokey, but no, it sounds really good and it's queer and I'm just so excited to read it. So this comes out on March 21st. The next book I have is The Stolen Heir by Holly Black. This came out on January 3rd. So this takes place in Elfame, which is obviously the place where a lot of her other books take place, and we're following Surin, who is a child of the Queen of the Court of Teeth. She fled to the human world to escape that court life and her mother. She spends her time releasing mortals from like dumb little bargains that they're set to, but then one night she's chased by the Storm Hag. So Prince Oak, who we know from the other series, Cruel Prince, and I like need to reread those. So Prince Oak saves her and they were actually supposed to get married. Like they were betrothed to one another, like they were like promised for marriage in the years past. Kane is seeking Surin's help on a mission, so she must decide if she wants to confront these horrors that she left behind. I am excited for this one. I actually really want to reread her like trilogy, the Cruel Prince trilogy, because I love it so much, but it's been a long time, so I feel like I kind of forget things, and I love that world, so I just think I'd love rereading that. But again, that book already came out on January 3rd. Another book that's already been out is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. This came out on January 10th. I'm not going to go into like details, but it is the second book in the Alex Stern series. Like the first book was called Ninth House and Hellbent just came out. I do need to get to that one. I finished Ninth House finally in like November, so I'm excited to read Hellbent. I just haven't got my hands on a copy yet. The next one I have is A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. It's the prequel book to Priory of the Orange Tree, which is my absolute favorite. It follows Tenuva, who is a sister of the Priory, and Sabrin the Ambitious, or Sabrin, I don't know how people say it, but so it takes place like, I don't know, hundreds or thousands of years before the events that take place in Priory. I'm very excited to read it. I think I just got charged finally for the copy that I ordered a year ago, so I'm very excited to get my hands on this. Oh, I'm so excited. Next, I have God Killer by Hannah Keynes. This book was released on January 19th. Oh, and Day of Fallen Night comes out on February 28th. Okay, so God Killer comes out on January 19th, and I've been trying to find this book anywhere, but like no library has it. Anyway, Kissin kills gods for a living, but then she finds a god she cannot kill, the god of white lies. And then we're also finding a character named Elagast who fought in the God War and who had ended his battling days, his battling days were over. But one day the king sends him on a quest, and I'm assuming that Kissin and Elagast journey together or something happens between them. That's all I wrote down. But this book sounds really good in like when I actually read it, like when I actually read the description, but I can't find it anywhere, so hopefully I can get to that this year. The next book I have is The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten. This book comes out on March 7th. So we're following the character of Lore, who is a like poison runner, and one day a run goes wrong and her power is revealed. She is taken by a group of warrior monks, and she must use her magic to discover why entire villages are dying overnight, or she must face death. I don't know much about this book, clearly from the small description I gave you, but it just sounds really cool. I believe that it's sapphic, or I know that it's queer in some way, so again, I'm very excited for that one. I already put a hold on it at the library. The next book I have is The Daughters of Isjahar by Hadir El-Spite. This came out on January 10th. I'm sorry if I like mispronounced all of that, but this is based on Egyptian history. So we're following Nehal, who is a water weaver. Oh, I'm so excited. So she can move water to her will, but lacks formal training. Her wish is to attend Weaving Academy and join all the female military regiment. But her family is crushed by debt because of her father's gambling problem. So she is forced to marry this man who is clearly in love with someone else. Her name is Georgina. Georgina is secretly an earth weaver, and she works with the radical women's rights group. And so this situation of Nehal and Georgina, like kind of coexisting in the same space, brings them together, and they fall for one another because they have this similar cause. And I'm not good at explaining books, but OMG, this book sounds so good. I like need to get my hands on it ASAP, because the fact that like they fall in love with one another, I'm like so excited. So this one I'm very pumped about, and I really need to get it right now. The next book I have is, of course, Chain of Thorns by Cassie Clare. I actually just picked up a copy today, treat myself. That is just the third book in the, what is the series called? Like, it's after, like, Chain of Gold, Chain of Iron, Chain of Thorns. I cannot think of what the actual trilogy is called right now, but you know what I'm talking about. And that book came out on January 31st. I actually have another Cassie Clare book. This is Sword Catcher, which comes out October 10th. This is, I think, her first, like, adult fantasy book. I mean, the only thing I've ever really read by her are like her Shadowhunter books, so this one I'm, you know, kind of excited about, I guess. This book follows the characters of Kel and Lynn Castor as they are drawn into the web of the Ragpicker King, who is the criminal ruler of Castellane, which is the place that they're from, Castellane's underworld. So this guy, the Ragpicker King, offers them what they desire most, but along this journey that they're taking, they discover corruption that runs all throughout Castellane. Again, I'm not good at describing books. Some descriptions are really long, but I am excited about this because, again, I've only ever read her Shadowhunter books, and I'm excited to kind of see what else she has up her sleeve. The next book I have is Seven Faceless Saints by M.K. Lobb. This book comes out on February 7th. We're following the character Rosanna Lestertosa, whose father was killed by the Ombrazian military, so I believe that's like where they're from. She is willing to do whatever it takes to dismantle this corrupt system, using her powers as a disciple of... I am so embarrassed right now, I don't know what I wrote down. So she has these powers because she's a disciple of this group. And Damien Venturi is the youngest captain of Palazzo Security, and he and Roz team up to find a murderer that is running rampant in Ambrosia. Wow, I'm sad that I ruined that description, but I feel like there's so many books like kind of similar to this that I wrote down where like this couple ends, well, these people end up falling in love with each other because they're on like some common quest. I don't know, this one just sounds really good. The cover is really cool looking, and maybe I'll put a cover. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but this one just sounded really cool, and I don't know, I just am excited about it. The next book I have is Silver in the Bone by Alexander Bracken, who I love. This book comes out on April 4th. It is inspired by Arthurian legend. So we're following Tamsin, who is a hollower. And hollowers are those who break into crypts for treasure, and she does this in order to keep her brother alive. So 10 years later, after she first starts doing this, rumors swirl that her guardian vanished with a powerful ring from Arthurian legend. She hopes that this ring could free her little brother from a curse that has been haunting them. So she must team up with her rival, Emrys, to beat the other competitors in this race to get the ring. I feel like this sounds a lot like, I don't know, reminds me of Lore, like her other book that she has, just because it feels like one big like competition, and like every other book I've talked about. But I don't know, I'm just excited. It's Alex Bracken. She's like such a wonderful, beautiful human, and I like love reading anything that she writes. Alright, and the next book I have is Raven Song by Kayla Faye. This book comes out on March 14th. So we're following the character of Maeve, who's been anticipating her 18th birthday when she will finally come into her powers as a Morrigan, which is a triad of Irish war gods, until she meets Alexandria, who wants her to live a normal life. So Alexandria is haunted by her own demons, and as they grow closer, Maeve realizes that something really is out to get Alexandria, so she really wants to try to use her powers and save Alex first. I think it is a lesbian book. To me, when I read this description, I don't know if this is accurate at all. When I first read this description, I was like, oh my gosh, is this an age gap relationship? Like, to me, Alexandria sounded like a stepmother or something. Or like just like a mom figure. I don't know if that's what's gonna happen. She might just be a close friend, but like for her to like not want Maeve to delve into this life and like to be a normal teen, I don't know. But it's a lesbian book, so I'm excited. The next book I have is Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb. This book comes out on May 2nd. We're following the character of Arcady, who is a thief just trying to survive. One day she steals a powerful artifact from the bone of the Plaguebringer, who was the most hated person in Lumet history. But Arcady knows that it is the key to a new life and a chance for revenge for their people. The spell brings a dragon named Everson to the Vale. He's the last male dragon foretold to save his kind. He is disguised as a human and must get Arcady to bond with him so that like he can like take over, I guess. I just thought this book sounded cool. We love dragons. I just don't know what is gonna happen. I mean, he's a dragon, but he's like a human, so I'm sure there's gonna be some kind of romance going on in there. But it just sounded like a cool book to me, you know? The next book I have, I don't really have a description for, but it's Girls Like Girls by Haley Kiyoko. This book comes out on May 30th. I'm actually seeing her in May, so I'm very excited about that. It's based on, like, she has a song that's called Girls Like Girls. It's one of like the most famous songs she has. It's just a coming of age young adult story about you know, girls falling in love. That's all I pretty much read about it. And the next book I have is The Wicked Unseen by Gigi Griffiths. This book comes out on June 20th. We're following the character of Audra, who doesn't fit in with her rural town. Audra's secret crush, a girl, the pastor's daughter of course, goes missing on Halloween weekend, and people start to blame her since they hung out with each other. And she's not well liked. But she knows that she's probably the only one who's going to be able to find her girlfriend or her crush. This book, I didn't really write a lot down, but it's going to be perfect for Halloween. I just know it. I'm very excited for this to come out, and it's going to be for sure one of my October reads. Another one that I plan to read for Halloween is A Guide to the Dark, which comes out on July 18th, and it's by Miriam Matui. We're following the characters of Mira and Layla, who get stranded on their college tour spring break road trip. They end up at this sketchy motel called the Wildwood Motel, and Mira has this feeling she just knows something is wrong with this place. And she's haunted by nightmares of her dead brother, and then she wakes up one day and he starts to actually be there, like she sees him. Layla doesn't see him and doesn't think anything is really wrong with this place until they learn that there have been 8 people that have died in the room that they're staying in. She's determined to put the pieces together before something happens to Mira. This is also another lesbian story, so I'm obviously very excited for this one. And again, it's probably going to be one of my spooky season reads this year. The next one I have is Such Pretty Flowers by K.L. Sarah, which comes out on February 7th. The last message that Holly got from her brother was, "Get it out of me." He was found cleaved open in his fiance's house. So police have said it was suicide by psychosis, but Holly believes it was something deeper than that, involving a game that his fiance wanted to play that night that he died. So Holly begins stalking Maura, her fiance, who is a florist. But Holly becomes fixated on her and delves into something much darker and more sinister than she was thinking, while also falling for Maura. Again, another lesbian book. We're just here for it. I'm so excited because, like, obviously it's like kind of like a forbidden love, since something must be wrong with Maura, or like she's like a lot darker, maybe had something to do with her brother's death. But I'm very excited for this book, of course. Next book I have on my list is Alecto the Ninth by Tamsin Muir, which comes out October 10th. This is the 4th book in the Locked Tomb series. I still have not read book 3, so no description here. I just gotta get to rereading this series and reading the 3rd book. The next book I have is Bonesmith by Nikki Powell-Prado. This book comes out on July 25th. We're following the character of Ren, who is a bonesmith, and bonesmiths are those who sever ghosts from its earthly remains. But she hopes to become a Valkyr, which is a ghost fighting warrior, because she wants to impress her father and like give her family honor. During this trial, someone sabotages it and causes her to fail, and she is banished to the border wall. When the prince is found captured, Ren goes to save him to reclaim her family's respect and prove that she can become a Valkyr. Apparently that this is a heterosexual book, because I'm assuming that they're gonna fall for each other on this journey, but you know, but it did sound really cool to me. It sounds like a cool like plot point, so it's fine. I'm very excited for it as well. Next book I have is Chaos and Flame by Tessa Gretton and Justina Ireland. This book comes out on March 28th. So we're following Darlene Seabrake's family, who was murdered by House of Dragon. She remembers nothing before that time that her family died. But when her adoptive Kraken father is captured, she vows to save him. We're also following the character of Talon Goldhoard, who is a dutiful war prince for House Dragon. He is ambushed by Darlene and believes that she is the key to resist his brother's erratic ruling. So they work together to uncover the prophecies and magic of their world. Again, another kind of like man and girl meet up to fall in love with each other on this journey. But I don't know, I feel like all these books sound very similar, but also different. It's just the cover looked really cool, so it drew me in, so I'm excited to read that one. The next one I have is House of Roots and Ruin by Erin A. Craig. This comes out on July 25th. This is the second book in the Sisters of the Salt series. I don't know how many there are going to be. I know some of the characters are like the same. I don't have a description for this one simply because, again, it's a second book and I don't really remember anything from the first one, so I might have to reread that. But I did enjoy that book. It wasn't like my favorite, but I think it's a good book to read for like spooky season. I don't really remember. The next book I have is The Spite House, which is by Johnny Compton. It comes out on February 7th. This book follows a character named Eric Ross, who is on the run with his two daughters. He left his house and his wife behind in Maryland. He is desperate for money, but he can't find work because he's always bouncing around and can't get, like, you know, people to want to recommend him. But he comes across an ad for this place called the Mason House, or the Mason House, which is a haunted house in Texas in need of a caretaker. But it's kind of a different type of position. They're trying to find proof that something paranormal is taking place in this house. He has to stay and record the notes and, you know, log any activity happening. But the house may prove to be too much and too scary for him. He thinks its secrets, though, will help him unlock his own history and secrets about his family's past. So, I don't know, this again sounds like a good Halloween book. It just seemed like a cool description. It kind of gives me like Haunting of Hill House vibes, because it's kind of similar to that, like, you know, everything that happens in that series. But finally, the last book I have is Where Darkness Blooms by Andrea Hanna. This book comes out on February 21st. This book takes place in the town of Bishop, which is known for its giant fields of sunflowers and missing women. 3 more women disappear in one night and no one is surprised, and so the cases are closed, but the daughters of these women discover a terrible secret at their mother's memorial. As more secrets start to unravel about the girls, each girl is forced to confront these secrets and must find answers to what happened to their mothers, and the townsfolk know more than they are letting on. This book also sounds really good for Halloween. I'm not sure everything that's going to happen, but it just seemed cool to me, and I love spooky season reads. So yeah, those are 23 books that come out in 2023. Again, some of them have already come out when this video gets posted, but I am very excited for a lot of these, and a lot of the lesbian ones just sound so good. But I hope I can get to at least half of them this year. That is all I have for you today. If you like this video, be sure to give it a nice little thumbs up. If you want to keep following me on this booktube journey, please subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ErikaAGobble. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!